Hello, happy Tuesday. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery patterns and kits. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, where we relax and we craft and we work on a project together from beginning to end for about an hour every single night here. So thanks for joining me. The replays of this will go up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies, so you can check them out there. And be sure to subscribe. And if you are making anything, if you're being crafty, I'd love to see what you're making. You can share over in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group on Facebook. So I hope to see you there as well. So thanks for joining me, guys. We are continuing on the Charming Chevrons quilt by Krista Watson of Krista Quilts. There's her cute little logo there. Oh, it's backwards for you guys, sorry. And we have all the chevrons one way completed, and now we're making all the chevrons going in the other direction, this direction here. So we're starting out with our two pieces of fabric. We have drawn a diagonal line down one side of it and then sewn on either side of that diagonal. So tonight we'll be continuing our process of cutting that in half. So we get our two half square triangles, one on either side. Here's one of them. Boop. And then we're pressing them and then trimming them down so they're the exact size that we want before sewing them into the half chevrons like this. So it'll end up being a V shape when we're done. So that's the plan tonight. We'll just keep going on that, and that is the deal. And we got a stack this big to go, and yesterday we got about this many half square triangles perfectly trimmed. So we got a little ways on this, but we are actually at the halfway point of all these half square triangles because we've done all the ones going in that other direction. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna flip you around. We'll get started for tonight. Thanks again for joining me, everyone. All right, here we go. Let me scooch over a bit. Back in our little spot with the rotary cutting, the mat right here, the rotating mat. Got my little stack up there, and I'm gonna keep this guy as a reference. So here's my stack of ones going in the other direction, and then here's this guy going in the opposite direction. So we only have one done of that right now. I'm gonna keep it over there so I can glance up and look if I'm getting it right. Because what I'm doing is I'm stacking my pair in the direction of that chevron. So I'm just taking the bottom one and putting it on the top, and I'm doing that with every single one, so it's kind of in order while we do it. All right, so let's get going here. First one up is that purple one. So again, we drew that line. There you can see the pencil line going down from corner to corner there, a diagonal. And then we sewed a 1/4 inch on either side. So a 1/4 inch this way and a 1/4 inch this way, just a seam like that. And now we're gonna cut that seam apart, or cut that diagonal. So right on top of where we drew, we are gonna just cut with the rotary cutter. Oh, I did get to see the owl pillows. I don't know if I commented or not on them yet, but they turned out so cute. I hope you're happy with them. I think I love the colors that you chose and everything for them. If you guys head over to the Penguin and Fish Crafters group, you can see the finished owl pillows from my book that Deborah did here. But yeah, they turned out really nice. So fun. We should do those as a project sometime. All right, pressing this open. Oh man, I have some tea by me tonight. I feel like I've been inhaling thread all day. Here's my little tea bag for the day. It's It's called Cold Ease or something, or cold something. I'm hoping it can ward off any colds. I don't think I'm actually getting a cold. I just think, oh God, it got to be like negative a bajillion again today, and I think that just sucked any moisture that was in the house. It just sucked it right out, that cold. So I think that's kind of what the deal is. And I've kind of been around fabric and stuff all day today, and I think I'm inhaling inhaling fibers. We'll top it off with some of these fibers too. Yeah, those owls are a nice quick project too. In the book, they were done in the like large style of embroidery where I used yarn and larger stitches, so that was kind of fun. So many projects to do. We will definitely, for the next project, we'll be doing the sketchbook cover with the zipper pouch in it from my book. So we'll be doing that next, but it'll be a little while yet, and I'll have more info on that. I'm going to do a fun little combo of that project with, I think, one of my new embroideries that will be coming out soon. So I'll have more news on that embroidery and the sketchbook cover project coming up in the next couple of weeks. So keep your eyes on your emails for that. And if you aren't on my email list, you can just head over to penguinandfish.com and a little pop-up will come up, and that's how you get on the email. Or anywhere it says free pattern, then that will get you there too. You get a free embroidery pattern when you sign up for the newsletter. Oh, Crystal, so we are working on a project. We're working on the Charming Chevrons quilt by Krista Watson of Krista Quilts. So we're making little half-square triangles right now, which is just a square divided in half into two triangles. It's in quilting land, it's called a half-square triangle, or an HST. But this is the project that we're making. Here I am on, well, if you guys are new, if anyone's new, my name is Alyssa Thomas, and I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. I'm here about an hour every single night, and we work through a project from beginning to end. So you're seeing the entire process of the project. And then the replays are up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies. But we are working on that Charming Chevrons quilt. And we do embroidery projects sometimes, and just all sorts of crafting projects. It's been some quilting lately, and those projects take a little bit longer, but we do like to pepper in some shorter projects. I'm hoping to do a crochet project this year yet, and there's another fun quilt project on the docket. Man, 2018, actually, once I think about it, is almost filled up of projects already. So I'll have to send out another email to you guys, just kind of an update. And you know, these quilts kind of take the time that they take, and we're going to split up this quilt. So after we're done making the top, before we put the layers of the quilt, the back and the batting and the front, before we put those together and then quilt it, before we do all that, we'll have another little embroidery project. And it's actually going to be an embroidery and sewing project. That is the sketchbook cover with a zipper pouch embedded in it. That is from my book, Sew and Stitch Embroidery, and that's going to be our next project. But like I said, guys, don't worry about that quite yet. I will have more info because we're going to do it a little differently than in the book. The design will be the same, so the sewing instructions and the pattern are going to be the same, but you can kind of do whatever you want on the front of the sketchbook cover. And I got a fun plan for us for that. Or you can just do whatever you want still, and it'll still be helpful to follow along with the live making of it. But we'll spend a little bit of time working on the front, and then you can do whatever you want for the front before we sew it together. So that project will come in the middle of finishing the top for this, and then putting the whole quilt together. Then we got some other fun things coming up this year too. Like I want to do that quilt that looks a little bit like crocheted granny squares. It's called the granny square quilt, I believe. And it's just cute. I mean, it doesn't have crochet in, it's not crochet, but it kind of mimics those cute granny square blocks that you can make with crochet. So we'll do that, and then I actually want to do an actual crochet project coming up here. Can you show us a pic of the sketchbook cover? Oh, for those without the book. Let's see, do I have my book here? Oh yeah, I have my book, so I'll find it here quick. So here is the Sew and Stitch embroidery book. I'm going to be placing an order for more of them tomorrow because I'm just running out. I kept all the damaged ones, so this one's mine. Let's see, I think the sketchbook cover is towards the back here. There's some other fun projects. Oh yeah, so here's the sketchbook cover. Somewhere in here. Okay, so this is it open. It's kind of a funny picture, but in the back there's a zipper inserted in there, and then it has a cute lining, and you can store pencils or whatever you want in there. So yeah, so here's the little illustration of it. So in the book we did a little felt kitty on it, felt with a little embroidery that you can kind of see. He says Maru because that's how our cat used to do it. And then it has like a little pocket in the back. So I'm thinking we can do whatever we want on the front, but I have a little bit of a fun plan that we're going to do, or that you can do as an option. And that's going to be one of my new embroidery patterns that are going to be coming out soon at Joann Fabrics, and also in my shop. It'll be up there in about a month or so. You guys actually might get to see it before it's out anywhere. So keep your eyes on your emails. That will it probably won't be this week or next week yet, but it will be before we finish this top, and I'll have more info on that. But yeah, so that'll be the project that we squeeze in the middle of this project. And I want to put together a kit for you guys. So if you're worried about finding zippers or the right size sketchbook or notebook or something, I'll have some of that available. Or if you need the book yet, if you don't have the book, I'll put together a little thing. So it's just really easy. More info on that soon, still figuring all that out. But I think that'll be a fun project. Fun gifty project, like little sketchbook covers. And you can adjust the pattern really to most likely fit any cover that you need. Like, I mean, really, you could be making it for textbooks or anything like that. But we're going to do that sketchbook cover, or that sketchbook size that is in the book. And if I remember correctly, it's, I don't know, like a 5 by, I don't know, 9 or something, 5 by 8. It's a standard size sketchbook cover, but sometimes art stuff is weird sizes compared to what you normally think of. So I can't remember off the top of my head. But I will have all that information coming up soon. I'm thinking about it more. I'm actually pretty excited, and I'm excited to share with you the new kit. It's actually going to be one of the new kits that I'll be having at Joann Fabrics. There's actually going to be 6 new kits total. Pretty stoked about it. Hello, thanks for coming in again, guys. Best part of the day when I get to chat with all y'all and make stuff. We're ticking away at, or chipping, that's probably a better word, we're chipping away at our half square triangles here. Ultimately, they're going to be sewn together to make our half chevrons, and they will go with our half chevrons that go in the other direction, and then we get a bunch of those together, and then we have a zigzag. So that is the plan. Oh, thanks, Crystal. So this is one of those projects, like this would be a great like day-long binge work-on project. You could get a whole pile of these done and watch like 6 movies. We're doing it a little bit every night, so we're doing it an hour every night here. So it'll take, how long did it take us to do the other half stack of these? I think probably around maybe a little over 2 weeks. Yeah, maybe. So we will be doing these half square triangles for the next 2 weeks for sure. But we will be sewing. So we're gonna rack up a little pile here of these half square triangles. And then once that stack gets tall enough that, you know, we feel like it's time to sew those together, then we'll sew that batch together. Then we'll keep cutting, keep trimming, and keep doing what we're doing here. But tonight we're gonna just do this. What's today? Oh, it's only Tuesday. Maybe we'll do one more night of this tomorrow, and then maybe Thursday we'll do some sewing. Sue, I struggle with that for sure. So Sue says that I have that you have more patience than I do to do. I'm guessing you mean to do like all the same thing for just an hour and an hour and an hour, like days at a time. And I gotta tell you, that is one of the reasons I think it took me so long to get into quilting. I mean, now that I have this dedicated time, this hour in the evening, more things are getting done, so it's less intimidating to me. But my mom was quilting. She didn't start really digging into quilting until, you know, till later. She's not like doing it since she was young or anything like that. But I think I made one quilt kind of around after she had been doing it for maybe a couple years, but not too long. And then I don't think I made another quilt for like another 5 years or something. I don't know. But that's kind of the thing for me, is it just was they're too big of projects for me. I like the small little wins, the quick little projects, the ideas that you can just have and then you get made really quick just to see if you like that idea, or, you know, make a cool bag. I like all those little projects. So with quilting, for me, every little step, and I still feel this way a little bit, every little step is just a little too long for me. It's just like a little too much. And the only way I'm doing it now, that I've done like so many quilts lately, is because now I have this dedicated time with you guys here that I know I'll be consistently working on it. But, you know, I have that jean quilt. That's going on a decade. You know, and that's not done yet. So, I don't know. But I definitely, since I've been on here with you guys for the past, I don't know, we're on year 3 at least now. of doing these live videos just about every night. But I've made a whole lot more and a lot more quilts here with you guys than I ever have before. Yeah, we'll finish this by Friday. Nope. But if you had a week to like binge work on this, you might be able to finish this top in the week. I think for sure. I mean, you know, once you get in a groove, you can just keep doing this. You're pressing, or what you really should do is get a friend and you keep trimming while they keep pressing. That's the way to do it, right? Sometimes when I'm at my parents' house, my mom and I will work on a project together like that. Gets done a little faster, but for me still with quilting, just the whole thing, it's just a little too big of projects for me to be like totally comfortable with. And that's why I love peppering in small projects. Whenever I do a large project, I always take a break here and there with a smaller project, because you need those wins, right? You need those little tricks to get you to not get burned out on a project, I think. So that's why we're gonna do that little that embroidery plus small sewing project, that sketchbook cover with the zipper in the back. That's why we're doing that, because we're going to need a little breather. Oh, it's 5.5 by 8. Lucy looked up the sketchbook size. So 5.5 by 8. And if you have a hard time finding them, it's kind of a normal sketchbook size cover if you go into like the art section. But if you have a hard time finding those, I think I will get a bunch so I can have them on hand if any of you guys need them. So I'll look into that a little bit more. I might do a little pre-sale of some supplies and then order a bunch and have them to you before we start this project. So keep a lookout for that. Still working it out. Oh yeah, I have so many UFOs too, Robin. This is a break from working on the Dresden plate blocks that your grandma didn't finish in the 60s or so. Oh man, Krista, yeah. Yep. Sometimes you need to break up a project so it's not so overwhelming. And that's kind of what we're doing here. Oh, Sue, yeah. If you wanted to learn embroidery, then this sketchbook cover project is going to be great, because the new design that I'll be stitching from the new kit is going to be, for a beginner. And I'm going to go through the whole process. So we'll talk about every stitch that's in there. I'll show you how to start and end your floss when you're stitching. I'll show you different ways you can transfer it to your fabric. We'll talk about what fabrics to use. And I think I'll have some fabric available too if you guys want. But we'll go through embroidery from beginning to end. So this will be, if you're interested in embroidery and haven't done it ever, or just need a refresher, then this sketchbook cover project is going to be really great. And you know, we're going to do the whole thing from beginning to end, all of the embroidery from beginning to end as well. And so if you're struggling, you know, I'm here, and so is everyone else if you have a question. And if you have a visual of a question, like if you, you know, you're trying to do some stitch or something and you just can't get it right, you can always take a photo and show it in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group, and then we can take a look at it there as well and figure it out. But yeah, I'll show how to do French knots. And you know, there's 3 things in a French knot that you might be doing wrong. Like if your French knots aren't turning out, it's probably one of these 3 things, and we'll talk about that. Talk about needles. We'll go through the whole bit. So yeah, if you're curious about embroidery, wanted to give it a go, this next project is going to be perfect. And then, you know, the extra nice thing about this next project is that it won't just be an embroidery. And then like, what do we do with that embroidery? We'll be making it into that sketchbook cover. So we got a plan for the embroidery already too, which is kind of nice. So yeah, so I will be figuring out that project a little bit more. And then I will let you guys know about it in, well, you know, I'll notify you guys here too, but I'll have the details of it in my email, in an email that will go out. So if you aren't on my email newsletter yet, be sure to get on there because there'll be more info coming on that soon. Oh, Finish It Friday. That's right. That's right. We talked about that, Bonnie. Man, it's the first of the month. Okay, yes. So thanks for reminding me, Bonnie. Ooh, that'll be good. Maybe I'll work on the hedgehog quilting. Yes, so we haven't done it yet, but we talked about the first Friday of every month. So the first Friday of the month, we talked about doing a Finish It Friday or a UFO Friday or something where we stop whatever we're working on. So we'll take a break from this Charming Chevrons quilt here, and we'll grab a project that we don't have done yet, and we'll just work on that a little bit. Because it can really easily, it's easy to get sucked into a new project, right? And then you don't ever finish your other project. Well, I got a few of those racking up right now, right? They're starting to rack up those UFOs. If you don't know what a UFO is, it just stands for unfinished object. It's just like one of those funny acronyms that quilters and crafters like using. UFO, unfinished object. But yeah, so thanks for reminding me. I gotta get that on the calendar, otherwise those will just zip by me. It's crazy. It's a new month already, right? We are well into 2018 already. So awesome. Okay, so Friday, I already got a project in mind then. Friday, I'm going to get out my hedgehog wall hanging that I've been working on. So I showed you that a couple days ago. I have the inside area where the embroidery is, I have that all hand tied. So quilted, so the center is done. Now I'm just going around the border with just straight lines. That's it. But it's being a little bit of a bear because it's made out of jeans, the border, and it's kind of stretchy. So I'm having a hard time with it. But a few of you guys last night recommended that I try raising the, what is that? Oh, Lucy, what is that called again? Raising the presser foot something or another, which I didn't even know you could do. And they're like, oh, it's just the dial on the top. So we might play around with that on Friday too to help me with this thick jeans and stuff. Oh, you watched the Sew Sweetness video and she used the Teflon foot on her machine to help glide the fabric. Oh, maybe I'll see. So I got that big thing of like 50 different sewing feet. So maybe there's a Teflon foot in there. Oh, the tension dial or something. All right, yeah, so we'll play with the tension and maybe I'll find the Teflon foot. Although, like right now I'm using a walking foot, so maybe we'll try a few different things. I'll show you what I mean. So I'll show you, oh, Pip's projects in progress. I like that too. I'll show you what I mean. I'll show you what's happening. So I'll be stitching it with my walking foot, the jeans on the border, and you'll see that it's going to start to gather. It's going to want to start to bunch up. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. So that's with the walking foot. So maybe first I'll try switching it out to the Teflon foot if I have one. We'll see if that works. And if it's still doing that bunch up thing, then I'm going to try playing with that tension dial that I've never touched before on this machine and didn't know existed. So got to play with that a little bit now that I know it's a thing. So cool. So that's what we'll do Friday. It's going to be Finish It Friday. I will not be finishing it probably, but I will be getting further, and that makes me happy. Yay! So thanks again for reminding me. I'm excited about that. So I have not seen a Teflon foot before, or I've not used one, Gretchen, but it's you know, like Teflon, like a, I don't know if it's actually made out of Teflon, maybe it is, but you know, that's like that non-slip, like a pan, like a non-slip pan sort of thing. So similar to that, it's to help things slip past the foot easier. Which would help in theory in my case because it's bunching up. So if it just slides underneath the foot a little bit easier, that would be a benefit, I think. Ooh, you're gonna do the batting and backing of your I Love Home quilt. Nice, Gretchen. That is another one of my unfinished objects. Oh, that's a way better way of explaining it, Robin. In way less words. Okay, a Teflon foot is a foot made of Teflon that helps glide fabric. There we go. But yeah, my I Love Home quilt is not complete either. The top is done. I'm waiting to quilt this project first, the Charming Chevrons quilt. I'm waiting to quilt this project first because this is my practice quilt, right? So this is the quilt that I'm hoping to learn how to free motion quilt on, right? So I'm hoping after this one, we'll be able to go back to the I Love Home quilt. We'll sandwich that up, and maybe I can get to do fancier quilting on that. In theory, if I learn how to do it on this, like maybe some echoing of the designs or something, where you know we have that house, like we draw lines around the house, and we can draw on little clouds or something too. I don't know. I'm hoping we can be way more decorative and playful with the quilting on that than what I know how to do right now. So I'm hoping I have magically, when this quilt is done, I'm hoping I will have magically mastered quilting. We'll see. I'll at least be, you know, in theory, a little bit braver so I can do the I Love Home quilt with some more panache, I suppose. So that's the plan. So I'm holding off on finishing that quilt until I've got a little bit more of an education and practice of free motion quilting under my belt, which is the objective with this quilt. So yep, that's an unfinished guy. My jean quilt's not done yet, and I have all sorts of embroideries hanging out here and there that could be turned into something. Like I have my Tweet House embroidery that we did the coloring. I think I have that behind me here still. Yeah, so there's this project. This could be turned into something. I don't know. This would be cute for a sketchbook cover too, maybe. But there's that. Could turn something into that. So we'll be good to go for a whole lot of First Fridays with unfinished projects for sure. But yeah, so this Friday, my unfinished object project, my UFO, for Finish It Friday, I am going to work on my hedgehog wall hanging, which is also, you know, quilting. So that's about managing the whole big quilt. Even though it's a small wall hanging, it's still dealing with a lot of bulk, which is my biggest fear for free motion quilting, is how do I deal with the bulk of the quilt. So we'll get a taste of that on a small scale. But yay! Okay, I'm excited for that on Friday. Thanks again for the reminder, Bonnie. Finish It Friday. So again, on Friday, we'll be taking a break from this project and working on one of the unfinished guys we got going on. So you're welcome to do the same if you're working on this project or you've been working on a different big project and you just need a breather for one day this month. Friday, you can take that day and have permission to work on one of your other unfinished projects. It's just a little break from whatever you're working on. I think that'll be nice. And Friday's a good day to do it, right for the weekend. A nice end of the week accomplishment feeling, I think. Even if you don't finish it, I'm not going to finish it. It's going to take me a long time to go around. Not a long time, but you'd be surprised. All I'm doing is straight line stitching around and around this hedgehog quilt. But man, each one of those rows still takes time. So I'm not sure we'll get done, the quilting, but we'll get close. Then I got to do a binding and a sleeve, and then I can hang it up. I can't wait to do that. The hedgehog quilt is what I want to hang behind me, so it's up for when we start my Facebook Lives. Then you can see it. So that's the plan. And it's getting there. It's definitely on the last crawl. Last lap, I would say, which feels pretty good. It's always nice when my unfinished projects get close to the finish line. Don't have many of those. Actually, I do. There's a lot of projects that are kind of at the finish line, but with no real end in sight, like the jean quilt and my splendid sampler quilt. I just need to do this. I'm going to do straight line stitching in the border of that too, just to get it done. Oh man. My quilts, my unfinished quilts are racking up. Ah well, we'll finish them eventually here. I know that I'm working on stuff every evening here, you know, so I know eventually things will get done. I don't have as much fear that they won't get done as I did before I started doing these evening videos. Or I've just become more patient. That could be too. I know I need to make a list. That's a great idea, Lucy. I need to make an unfinished project list. I'm checking them off in slow motion, and that's okay. I don't have any deadlines for them or anything, so that's good. It changes the nature of crafting when you have to do it under a deadline, for sure. I mean, you get it done faster usually, but sometimes that can be a little stressful. Oh man, it's so pretty. Little colorful diamond sparkles. That's what this one looks like. Our stack's getting taller. So yeah, so I think Wednesday, which is tomorrow we'll continue making these again, I think. And then on Thursday, we'll have a whole bunch to sew together into half chevrons. And then we'll set it aside, and Friday will be our Finish It Friday, like work on a UFO. First Friday of the month. Every month we'll have a Finish It Friday. And I'll work on my hedgehog. There we go. You prefer to enjoy the journey of your projects. That's nice. Don't enjoy deadlines. I'm with you, Deborah. I'm definitely learning to enjoy the process a little bit more. I know you guys, if you've been here for a while, you know that cutting, like what we're doing here, cutting and pressing are kind of my least favorite steps of the process, quilting process. But I'm learning to just zen into them a little bit, like not worry about going faster. Because in my head, it was always not one of the steps, right? In my head, it's just like, ooh, you have your pieces and then you sew them together and then you're done, which is awesome. So then the problem would come up that, oh, I have to trim all these and I have to press all these. And those are just like huge steps that my brain wasn't expecting. Even though I knew they were there, in my brain it wasn't a real step. It was just like a quick thing in the middle. But when you're actually doing it, I mean, it's a huge chunk of the quilting process is pressing and trimming. And I think I'm just getting more, I'm just getting better at the idea of remembering that, oh, that's part of the process and that's okay. Oh, what was the first project I worked on Periscope? Oh man, that is I have no idea. I'm gonna have to look that up. That's a stumper. I wonder if my husband remembers. I don't know. I'd like to think maybe it was some embroidery project, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't even know if I can look that up. I'm gonna see if I can find out. Man, I don't know. That was over 2 years ago. So February, oh, we're coming up to that anniversary of the Splendid Sampler. So we started the Splendid Sampler. We started that on Valentine's Day, which is coming up, Valentine's Day of 2016, I believe. So on Valentine's Day, it will have been 2 years since the Splendid Sampler. And I think I was doing it for a good year or so, or almost a year, at least 6 months. I think it was more like 8 months. I was doing it for at least that long before we started the Splendid Sampler. So that's how long I've been doing these live streams about every single night, you know, with a few exceptions. And I started out doing them every night, including the weekends. But now I don't do them on the weekends. But man, what was our first project? So yeah, that plant. So I did that embroidered. I did that little drawing of the plant growing out of a mug that we have, and I did it with that painting style of embroidery where you fill in every area and it's almost like painting, but you're using thread instead. Thread painting, I think that's what it's called. That was really fun. I had never really done that before. That was not the first project though. I think we were kind of well into things at that point. I know we mended my sweater on there. There's a bunch of different weird mends on here in the elbows too. But that wasn't our first project either. That was we were doing it for a while for that. Yeah, blade's looking fuzzy. Got another little pillow here. Not pillow, towel here to just kind of wipe it off. It's, you know, I said last night that it's probably time for a new blade, but I didn't do it yet. Man, what other early projects did we do? You know, I bet you it had to probably be embroidery. I'm sure we did some embroidery to start out on Periscope. Oh, thank you, Diane. Yeah, so I used to have music on in the background, and I had that little plant, and I had a candle going and stuff too. So that must have been, we had the candle going, doing some embroidery, listening to some music. But then I started putting them up on YouTube, and YouTube kind of, a lot of times if you have music on, they won't let you play your videos. So stopped having music, which is a bummer because that was kind of fun. Having a little zen, chill music in the background. Man, I'm not quite sure what the actual first project was, though. I remember what the first video was. I don't remember the first project, but my first video, just to give it a try, was, just to give the live streaming a try, was I was doing a little photo shoot. Actually, it was the photo shoot for, if you go to my Facebook, the header image in there, or on YouTube, I think I used the same image on YouTube. That header image, I was putting that project together, or I was putting that photo shoot together, and my first video was a little behind the scenes of that photo shoot. And I remember that was my first time doing a live stream because I was petrified, and my finger was hovering over the go live button for like 20 minutes, and I was like, had such high anxiety, and then I just did it, and then a few people popped in, and everyone was really nice and asking questions and stuff, and I'm like, oh, this isn't bad, this is kind of fun, but man, I have like the full memory of being totally anxious and like panicky right before, like my finger like literally above the go live button. So I know pretty sure that was my first live video, was the little behind the scenes of a little photo shoot thing that I was doing. So that was the first video. Don't know what the first project, though, was offhand. I'm working on it, Diane. One of these days, right? All right, there's that half chevron. We'll get a few more of these done tonight. Our stack's getting pretty tall. We could, in theory, sew tomorrow, maybe. But maybe we'll just keep cutting, because then I can clean up this area before we sew, and then it'll be easier to clean up for the Finish It Friday. Rack up our stack here a little bit more. Stack of half square triangles. I'll show you it. There's stacks right there. It's getting taller. Long ways to go yet, but we're ticking away at it. I'm happy with where we are. Just a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. That's why I've definitely come to the conclusion, realization, I suppose, that these little bits of time, I do work on it just, an hour here in the evening with you guys. And then I think an hour is actually a lot of time. In theory, you might just have like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something. But just this little bit of time done consistently, I have been getting so much more done than thinking, oh man, I need a weekend to do work on a project. I got to dedicate a whole weekend and spend the whole weekend. Because that never, for me at least, that never happens. So I never get any crafting done. So these little bits of time have definitely been better for me. Yes, the book was before my live streams. Yup. I think actually, yeah, maybe a year or two before live streaming was a thing yet. Yeah, so we haven't really done anything from the book, though, which I don't know why we haven't done that. So this might be, I think this this project, the sketchbook cover, that might be our first project that we do from my book. That seems weird. You think this would be cute with, oh, 2.5 inch squares for a baby quilt? For sure, Bonnie. I mean, you could use the same size and still just make it a smaller quilt. But yeah, itty bitty zigzags, that would be cute for sure. Alrighty. Oop, wrong way. There we go. I have the one book, the Sew and Stitch Embroidery book, Diane. I'm not sure if I'll do another book. Maybe. It was really fun to do the book for sure. But after finishing it, I don't know, I think I like doing stuff like this more. Like these little videos and stuff. Oh yeah, and Diane, I will for sure let you guys know more about the project and what you'll need and everything for that too. Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Robin. There's 2 books actually. So one craft book, that's the Sew and Stitch Embroidery, and then I have a children's book too. Man, must be getting late. So 2 books. The children's book is called No Monster Here, and it was written by my mother-in-law, and I did the illustrations for it. So it was a combo deal for us, and that's a nice hardcover book too. And yeah, I really loved working on that book. So I could see doing more of those. Actually, I could see doing more children's books. I think maybe before doing a craft book. I don't know. I'll have to put some of that stuff in the back of my brain again and mull it over. Oh, and you know what? Now that I even think about it more, I have been in a couple more books as a contributor. So, like, there's that craft textbooks. The craft textbook. I gave away a couple of those for the fabric sale. The craft textbook, and which I will be doing something with soon again. I'll have more info on that coming up. I have like a fun project coming up having to do with the craft textbook. That's that fun paper that kind of acts as fabric. So I'll have more info on that soon. And then I contributed to a couple Molly Makes books, like Molly Makes Embroidery and like Woodland Friends or something. So yeah, so I've contributed to a few other books, I suppose. But the Sew and Stitch Embroidery book is my book, and then the No Monster Here is the children's book. Oh, your granddaughter loves it. Oh, that's nice. Oh, you're one of the initial reviewers for No Monster Here, Carla. Yay, that's awesome. Oh, I appreciate that. And I'm so happy that you like it. Yeah, that was really fun to do. My mother-in-law is an educator and of that that preschool age, and she's just really, really knowledgeable and really good. So there's a lot of little bits in there, especially for kids, to help them with thinking and reading and all that. So all that good education is loaded in there subtly, and then it's just fun little drawings. I had a good time making that, for sure. Let's see, how are we doing? Ooh, I think we can get maybe one more of these done tonight. Then I think we did it pretty well on it. All right. Oh, yeah, Alyssa wants to take it on her own. Oh, Rachel, rip it up. Yeah, we on purpose didn't do a dust cover for it. We just have that hard cover because we were afraid little kids would just rip up the dust cover. A dust cover is like that little paper wrapping that goes around a book on the outside sometimes. We printed ours without that. All right, I think this is going to be our last one for the evening. Oh, maybe we'll do, I think we'll do one more. We'll get one more done. I'm going to rack up these half square triangles on this pile here. Yeah, one more. Ooh, it's another purple. We got a whole pile of purple in a row here. That's okay. As long as when we sew them together, I only grab one of them and not a whole bunch. All right, last half square triangles for the night, and then we'll call it an evening. I think, I'm just thinking, I think we might actually sew these together tomorrow. So we'll sew them into the half chevrons because we do have a pretty good pile going because we need to sew them and then press them open still. And then we still have Thursday, but I got this cool new tool in the mail, and it's by Blair from Wisecraft. And remember Blair, we did that English paper piecing project, her English paper piecing project a couple months ago, right? She has a new product out that is pretty cool, and it's a ruler, but what it really is a way to help you see value. Yes, the Ruby ruler. Yes, that is it. So I got one of those, Lucy. It's called the Ruby ruler, and what it is a tool to help see value. So if you, like darks, mediums, and lights, that's a common thing in quilting. A lot of times you want that contrast so you can see your design. So like, for example, this zigzag that we're doing, if you do have a dark background color and a light foreground patterns, then since that dark and that light are high contrast, your zigzag will really pop. But if you want a more subtle thing, then you want your values closer together. So you might, if you want a dark valued quilt, but that's subtle, you would do like a black with like a deep blue or something, you know what I mean? Two colors that are both kind of dark, or you could do kind of mediums together, but you still want a little light and a little dark. So anyway, it is a neat tool, and that might have been a little confusing just now, but I think I would love to show you guys that tool and kind of talk about value a little bit and picking fabrics to kind of help out a quilt. If you imagine looking at a quilt from really far away, and if you still want to be able to tell what all your designs are at a glance from far away, then you might want something a little higher contrast. So when you're digging through your scraps and all that, this Ruby ruler is going to be a good tool for you just to immediately see differences in contrast. What it kind of does is it kind of cancels out the color it makes everything just kind of a red. So it's almost like taking a black and white photo. And by doing that, you don't get sidetracked with all the color. Like, you don't get distracted with like, ooh, this is green and red and blue and whatever. You just see the value, so how light or dark it is. And that can help you make things more contrasty or less contrasty, however you like. But it's really helpful, like if you need a light pile and a dark pile, and you're not sure in your scrap bin, you're not sure if something fits in that light and dark, this tool will kind of help you decipher it. So we'll check it out. Oh, you have ruby glasses and they help with fabric values. Oh, that's awesome, Carla. Yeah, so this is the kind of the same thing, but it doubles as a ruler. So yeah, so we'll sew these together in the half chevrons tomorrow, and then Thursday we might have to press these a little bit still if my pile's too big. But we'll take Thursday and talk about value a little bit and look at that ruby ruler by Blair from Wisecraft. So we'll do that. And then Friday will be the Finish It Friday, first Friday of the month. We'll work on an unfinished project. So, all right, guys, I think this is it for the night. So we got our pile a little bit bigger, probably doubled it. But then check out, what we don't have done yet. So this is probably a good week and a half at least yet of sewing these. But yeah, so we'll sew these together, and yeah, that'll be the plan for tomorrow. Make our little chevrons. So we'll add to this pile right here, that pile of chevrons. So it's not so small. But all right, guys, I'm going to flip you around and we'll call it an evening. Hello again, everyone. So thanks for joining me tonight, making all those half square triangles. I'll get this up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies. This Friday is the second Friday. I know it is, isn't it? Wait, is it? Yeah, it is. The first Friday is, I think I was at, that's when I was doing all the Super Bowl stuff. So it's the second Friday. So we missed the first Friday of February. So we're going to pretend that this Friday is the first Friday. How about that? For the UFO. But from here on out, I'll try and do it the first Friday of the month for the just taking a break on whatever we're working on and just take an opportunity to work on an unfinished project. But yeah, so tomorrow, again, we'll look at that ruby ruler and just really talk about value of color of your fabric, just to help to help pick out colors. Carla, I'm with you. Scary how fast time is passing. I know. My list is like this long and time just keeps scrunching it up a little bit. It's no good. But all right, guys. Thanks again. If this was your first time here tonight, my name is Alyssa Thomas, and I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and we're on for about an hour every night, working on a project from beginning to end. So again, we are working on the Charming Chevrons quilt. Let me grab the pattern for you guys. Charming Chevrons quilt by Krista Watson of Krista Quilts. If you want to join us, I'll be here for a while for sure. A few months yet working on this project probably, and so there's plenty of time if you guys want to work on it. So check that out. I have a link in the post here, and I will be back here tomorrow. So have a great evening, guys, and I'll see you then. Good night.